We made it! I was going to have party poppers, but instead here's some fake confetti. We've made it through this study of Hebrews 11, and if you've been watching these as they're uploaded, it's Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas, this day that we celebrate the birth of Jesus, the ultimate promise of God. It's a day of celebration and joy. But it's not the end. We've made it through Hebrews 11, but those last two verses yesterday end with a bit of a cliffhanger. Verse 40 said, "Since God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect." What is that something better? Given what day it is, you can probably guess, but did you notice something missing from Hebrews 11? We went through a whole list of names and events, people waiting and expecting something, people who are said to have lived by faith. But there is one name that doesn't appear in Hebrews chapter 11. What was the ultimate promise of God? What were the people waiting for? What was the better thing God planned for us? The answer comes in Hebrews 12, verses 1 to 3. "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart." The faith of those in the Old Testament, as they waited in expectation, the faith of those in the New Testament that was satisfied, the faith that you and I are called to, is pioneered and perfected in Jesus. Jesus is both the ultimate example of living by faith, as well as the perfection, the completion of that faith. Yet the way Jesus perfects our faith is by leading us to live by faith. It's not totally accurate to say that we've made it. I guess I have to pull that confetti back in. We are still on the road. Each day we still have opportunities to either keep to God's route towards his destination or turn to another, easier way. Believing in Jesus doesn't mean we stop sinning. Having faith doesn't mean we won't face temptation or persecution. Though today may be a day of rejoicing, the world is still dark and broken. And our relationship with God is still growing. My sinful desires still lead me to doubt and selfishness. And so what's the point? The point is that God's faithfulness remains, that Jesus is leading us to a greater glory than we can imagine. Jesus faced the temptations and trials, the pain and brutality of this world, and he lived perfectly by faith. And it is that perfect record, that obedience and love for God and the Father that he gives to us to live out. I cannot perfectly live by faith, but Jesus did. And he gives me his life as a covering so that I can endure. I pray that though this message is hard, that it will encourage us this Christmas. We can stop and look back at the ways that God has kept his promises. We can see how all the men and women of the Old Testament looked forward to Jesus. We can see how Jesus himself lived perfectly. And we can endure finding rest in Jesus as our perfect hope and assurance of God's love and salvation. We can look at this past year and all of its hardness and see ways that God has remained faithful to us and is calling us to live by faith. God sees the perfect faith of Jesus and gives it to us and welcomes us into his rest. That's our hope. That's my hope this Christmas season.